just like that, Kathy Engelbert, the WNBA, the team owners, the Players Association, in the split of an instance, all of it can change. In a split instance, all of it can change. If this injury does anything, it should be a wake-up call to the WNBA, the Players Association, the team owners, that just like that, all this fanfare, all this interest, all this newfound attention on the league can disappear overnight.
The WNBA assumed they could push Caitlyn Clark around every night, and fans would simply applaud like it was a middle school halftime show. Well, surprise twist, after Clark took a hard hit like it was Game 7 of the NHL Finals, fans aren't just upset, they're boycotting like it's Black Friday and the referees lost their coupons. The league encouraged physicality, but now it's facing a full-court protest. Who knew the road to equality meant throwing elbows at your MVP's ticket sales? Get ready as we dive straight into this unfolding saga.
It was just announced that Caitlyn Clark will be out a minimum of 2 weeks with a quad injury. Could this injury have been prevented? Can the Indiana Fever win without her? And what does this mean for the WNBA?
Oh, the WNBA believed it was heading into a peaceful, drama-free season. How cute. Just when everything looked perfect, ratings climbing, jerseys selling fast, and every Fever game feeling like a Taylor Swift show. Boom. Caitlyn Clark's team had different ideas. Now she's sidelined. Fans are reacting like the Earth slipped from its orbit, and the WNBA is quietly scrambling behind the scenes while pretending all is well. It's not...
Get in the back. We know Caitlyn Clark was lost yesterday to an injury for at least 2 weeks. Now, the thing about it is they're going to reevaluate in 2 weeks. And of course, man, these teams, I told you earlier, these WNBA franchises that move games like the Chicago Sky to the, United Arena, you're screwed. You're done. You're cooked. Nobody is going to show up to this thing. Chicago Sky can't sell out their own 9,000-something seat arena like it is. They couldn't when they were kind of decent.
2 weeks. That's how long Clark is sidelined with a strained quadriceps. Not a tear, not a break, but enough to turn the league's story completely around. Her thigh basically clocked out early, and the Fever's star player is now resting on the bench, while the WNBA struggles to keep the spotlight. And the reactions? Oh, they've been anything but subtle. If subtle means a total public meltdown, then yes. Clark's fans, the most passionate merch-wearing Twitter cackalock supporters since the Michael Jordan era, are already organizing emotional walkouts. They've turned a minor injury into a full-blown revolution. I'm done watching until Clark's back. This league isn't worth it without her. Boycott the WNBA. These folks are acting like the league personally slapped their grandma and stole their dog. Meanwhile, every other player is out here saying, hey, we exist too. And the internet's reply? Not now, sweetie.
It's the latter. It could mean that Caitlyn Clark could potentially miss the rest of the season. This 2-week timetable that people are running with, that's just when Caitlyn Clark is going to be reevaluated. As of now, she will be reevaluated on June 9th. That does not mean, and it's highly unlikely, that June 9th or shortly thereafter is when Caitlyn Clark is cleared to return.
And Indiana? Well, they're suddenly realizing what life feels like without their golden goose. The Caitlyn Clark show is temporarily off the air. Now, Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell are trying to keep the whole franchise together with duct tape and pure hustle. Mitchell's playing like she's got 3 lungs. Boston's rebounding like she's battling ghosts. And Coach Stephanie White is rewriting game plans like she's in the Hunger Games. Yet somehow, the Fever might actually stay afloat. Why? Because the next few games are against teams that have been about as threatening as lukewarm soup. No offense, Chicago Sky. Okay, maybe a little offense. But let's be real. The most entertaining part of the WNBA isn't the scoreboard, the highlight reels, or even the actual basketball. It's watching the league pretend the party's still on when the life of that party, Caitlyn Clark, just got benched. Before her injury, Clark wasn't just in the MVP talk, she was the talk. Sure, some acted like she was a long shot, like she was only good for a rookie, but that's like saying Beyoncé is just okay for a singer. Please. Caitlyn wasn't just putting up stats. She was dragging an entire franchise back into the spotlight like a one-woman rescue mission. She had the ratings, the sellouts, the celebrity shoutouts, the screaming fans, and the nosebleeds decked out in homemade jerseys with glitter glue. She didn't just bring excitement, she single-handedly rebooted the WNBA's algorithm. We're talking record-breaking views, arenas that suddenly remembered what full feels like, and merch flying off shelves faster than Taylor Swift tickets. Now, the Queen is temporarily off the board, and everyone's pretending this MVP race is suddenly wide open, like the rest of the league wasn't just orbiting her gravitational pull 5 minutes ago. Cute.
Breaking WNBA news. Caitlyn Clark is out for a minimum of 2 weeks with a quad strain, and our next question is, what does this mean for the Fever? So CC is going to be missing the Second Sky rematch since playing them the first weekend of the season, which is definitely a bummer, but on the bright side, this injury doesn't seem too bad, it's just some quad tightness. But fear not, Fever fans. We talked to Caitlyn earlier this month, and she doesn't seem too worried about the depth of this roster.
Meanwhile, back in Indiana, the Fever are quietly figuring things out, and they might actually come out stronger. Because without Clark doing literally everything, the rest of the team is stepping up. And when she returns, rested, focused, and absolutely done with all the noise, buckle up. Picture Clark storming back onto the court, draining threes from the parking lot and silencing every doubter who wrote her off after 2 weeks of quad rehab. That's not just a comeback, it's an encore. And here's the real kicker. If the Fever can survive this stretch, stay competitive, maybe even snag a few sneaky wins, they're going to be a serious problem. Because with Clark healthy, Boston confident, and Mitchell fired up, you're looking at a potential playoff spoiler with the momentum of a freight train. So, yes, Caitlyn Clark is temporarily injured, but the WNBA is still rolling. Maybe louder than ever, because now, every storyline is heating up at once. MVP drama, rising stars, fan feuds, conspiracy theories, and Clark's eventual comeback tour.
Just as I started talking about Caitlyn Clark being in the MVP race, it is announced that she suffered a left quad injury and she is going to miss at least 2 weeks. And this is such a bummer because the Fever were off to a great start this season. Caitlyn Clark was playing out of her mind. She had already broken some records in the first 3 games, and now she's going to be sidelined for 2 weeks. We'll see how the team will hold up without her. Obviously, she's the primary ball handler, playmaker, and shot maker. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully they can sustain and just hold even at 500 or better, and she can get back and keep them in playoff contention.
So to all the fans boycotting the league until their basketball messiah returns, here's a reality check. Without Caitlyn, watching the WNBA feels like tuning in after the main act has left the stage. Sure, the league is full of talent, but without her, the spark's missing, the energy's flat, and the drama's lukewarm at best. Go ahead, rage tweet from your Clark-themed beanbag, because the WNBA isn't evolving, it's surviving. And when she's back, it won't just be basketball, it'll be the show we've all been waiting for.
All eyes around the state, around the country, around the world are on the Indiana Fever. And Bria, this is going to be a lot of fun.
Caitlyn Clark has just shattered expectations by achieving in 41 games what took Diana Taurasi a staggering 565 games to reach. Take a moment to let that sink in. What we're seeing unfold, from rookie to sophomore, is not just impressive. It might be one of the most extraordinary leaps in the history of professional basketball.
There it is! A triple.
Everyone's buzzing about Caitlyn Clark's triple-double, but that was just the tip of the iceberg. In reality, Clark and the Indiana Fever shattered 11 different records in that game alone. I've broken down every second of the Fever's crushing victory over the Chicago Sky, and what I uncovered will absolutely blow your mind. That triple-double? It was only the opening act of a night that rewrote the entire WNBA record book.
Having the Fever organization be what it is today, it is just so fun to be a part of. There's been a lot of anticipation.
You've done a great job in training camp leading to this moment. Enjoy it. Okay, go out there and have some fun.
While all eyes were glued to Caitlyn Clark that night, a quietly historic moment almost slipped by unnoticed. DeWanna Bonner stepped onto the court, just 7 points shy of basketball immortality. Pause and think about that. 15 years of relentless professional excellence, thousands of points scored, and now standing on the verge of becoming the third highest scorer in WNBA history.
Bonner is the fourth all-time leading scorer in WNBA history, and in her first game with the Fever, will likely move into third all-time. She's currently just 6 points behind Tina Thompson for third on the all-time scoring charts.
Would anyone even catch this milestone amid all the Fever frenzy? That question lingered in the air as the Chicago game tipped off. Since 2009, Bonner has been quietly stacking points, rising through the ranks with Phoenix, Connecticut, and now Indiana. And here she was, just 7 points shy of overtaking Tina Thompson on the WNBA's all-time scoring list.
Bonner, who knocks it away, cookies, TV, open court, right side, and she lays it in!
The moment of truth came in the final quarter. Bonner stepped up to the free throw line with 2 shots to take. The first swished through the net, tying the record amid roaring cheers from the crowd. Then came the second, smooth and precise, catapulting her past 7,488 career points and cementing her place as only the third player in the 28-year history of the WNBA to reach this incredible scoring milestone.
One more free throw for Bonner. It's in the air, and it's good. DeWanna Bonner now third in WNBA history in scoring. 7,489 points and counting. Lord, and here's the ovation for Bonner.
What makes Bonner's milestone even more remarkable is the way she's reshaped the Fever's culture. This isn't just an aging star chasing personal glory. She's a 6-time All-Star, 2-time champion, and the heartbeat of a young team hungry for a winning blueprint. When Bonner speaks in the locker room, rising stars like Clark, Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Lexie Hull hang on every word.
DB is somebody that, he's a Hall of Famer, like a legend, not only a good basketball player, a great person, a great leader. The strongest voice in our locker room is hers, and it's fun to have been around here now for about a month just to get to learn from her and soak it in, and I'm really happy she got to do it at the free throw line and all the fans could go crazy and cheer for her because she certainly deserved that moment, and it was really awesome to see and be a part of.
The Indiana crowd rose to their feet as the PA announcer proudly announced Bonner's milestone. It was a powerful reminder that even in an age of viral highlights and rising young stars, true greatness that spans decades still commands respect. Bonner's ascent to become the third all-time leading scorer wasn't just a personal triumph. It set the stage for a night packed with record-smashing performances. With only Tina Charles ahead at 7,696 points, Bonner now eyes the second spot on the all-time scoring list. But as monumental as her achievement was, the night was far from over. Another Fever star was ready to show why Indiana's future shines with such fierce promise. Remember when skeptics doubted Aaliyah Boston's ability to dominate, especially against fellow South Carolina alum Camila Cardoso, who towers at 6 feet 7 inches? Those doubts were crushed in the most emphatic way imaginable during the showdown with the Chicago Sky.
All right, y'all. Hey, good stuff. Okay, we did a lot of really good things. I thought our defense was really good. And when we had lapses, we played through possessions. All right, so we made things happen. Overall, just hell of an effort.
Boston came into her third season with a chip on her shoulder. She wasn't just aiming to be a great player, she was determined to cement herself as a franchise cornerstone alongside Clark, forging the dynamic duo set to drive Indiana's success for the next decade. The foundation of something truly special was taking shape in Indianapolis. The Chicago frontcourt, however, arrived full of confidence. Angel Reese had spent the week boldly declaring she'd dominate the paint against Boston. Through Instagram posts, press conferences, even warm-ups, Reese was loud and clear. She expected to own that matchup. Boston's reply? A defensive masterclass that left everyone speechless. 5 thunderous blocks sent sky shots sailing into the stands, igniting the crowd and forcing fans out of their seats, eyes locked on the scoreboard. Every time Reese rose for a shot, Boston was there, waiting, ready, unyielding. That defensive dominance propelled Boston to 6th place on the Fever's all-time blocks leaderboard, a testament to her rising impact on both ends of the floor. Those 13 rebounds weren't just impressive, they were historic. In only her third season, Boston vaulted into 8th place on the Fever's all-time rebounding list. Think about that. Decades of players have battled on the boards for Indiana, and she's already among the franchise's elite top 10. Combine that with 19 points and 5 blocks, and Boston stepped into truly rarefied air. She became only the 2nd player in WNBA history to start a season opener with 15-plus points, 10-plus rebounds, and 5-plus blocks. The first being Natasha Howard back in 2014. That's elite company for any player, especially one still so early in her career.
Yes, great job of those long arms of the Leah Boston here, going up multiple times and then...
Clark to Boston connection was flawless all night long. Clark kept locking in on Boston, delivering pinpoint passes, whether it was a slick high-low feed or a perfectly timed bounce pass, setting her up for easy buckets. Meanwhile, Boston stood guard like the rim-held state secrets, shutting down every lane Chicago tried to exploit. Though Reese pulled down 17 rebounds, her offensive game faltered badly. She shot just 5 for 14 from the field, constantly stymied by Boston's impeccable timing and defensive positioning. What was hyped as a showdown turned into a masterclass in defense, with Boston owning the paint and controlling the tempo.
Hit it once, I'll hit it again. Pow, pow, pow! Fever dub.
But the most jaw-dropping moment of defensive brilliance came when Boston teamed up with another Fever player to shatter a record never before seen on a WNBA opening night. A partnership so dominant, it's forcing scoring wings and guards across the league to rethink how they attack Indiana's defense. What Caitlyn Clark did against the Sky wasn't just impressive, it was unprecedented. In the 28-year history of the WNBA, no one has ever pulled off what she did that season opener. Not Diana Taurasi, not Sue Bird, not Cheryl Swoopes, no one.
I don't know what the big deal is about the fact that Caitlyn is getting a lot of love. She deserves that, and she's helped change this game just as a lot of other players have. But it is what it is, and I think that we are all benefiting from the effects that she's had on the game, and I just appreciate the way she shows up.
It's not every day in women's basketball that a Hall of Famer steps onto a podcast and delivers more truth than a finals post-game interview. But that's exactly what Lisa Leslie did when she recently came to Caitlyn Clark's defense. What followed was nothing short of a masterclass in grace, perspective, and yes, a subtle but powerful takedown of Angel Reese on her very own show. Thousands were tuned in, and Reese got an up-close look at what will likely go down as one of the most graceful clapbacks in podcast history.
Going into my season 2, what's some advice that you would give for me?
Season 2, I can't wait to work with you some more. The biggest advice I have for you is going to be how you shoot your layups, period.
While the internet has been blowing up over the Clark versus Reese drama, with fans treating it like a Marvel-style rivalry, Lisa Leslie stepped in and played a whole different game. She didn't take sides. She raised the level of the conversation. One day, she's praising Caitlyn Clark for her influence on the league. The next, she's offering Angel Reese the kind of mentorship you won't find in any practice session. It wasn't about rivalry, it was about growth. And let's face it, someone had to say it.
But she literally got called out for missing layups. I mean, on her own damn show.
Let's rewind for a second. For months, it's felt like Caitlyn Clark couldn't catch a breath without some WNBA veteran tossing a passive-aggressive remark or shooting her a side-eye. Between jealousy-fueled tweets and literal body checks on the court, it was obvious some in the league weren't exactly rolling out the welcome mat. So when Lisa Leslie, one of the WNBA's original legends, stepped in and said, "Actually, Caitlyn's doing everything right," it landed like a buzzer-beater game winner.
You want to see more WNBA people saying this, and it's just so obvious.
This wasn't just any random take. This was Lisa Leslie, one of the architects of the WNBA, a pioneer who threw down dunks before they were the norm, and someone who understands firsthand what it means to elevate a league. So when she says Caitlyn Clark is the real deal, the basketball world pays attention.
We have to understand that when one player eats, we all eat. And as we all get more opportunities, it just opens it up for everyone else. And I think Caitlyn has said that even herself in certain interviews. And I love that. I love that she's not the player who's like, it's all about her. It's not. She's giving love and homage to those of us that have come before her. She shares the wealth with her teammates, and she doesn't have to do that. So I just don't, again, I don't know what the big deal is about the fact that Caitlyn is getting a lot of love. She deserves that, and she's helped change this game.
Lisa didn't just say Caitlyn Clark was talented. She emphasized the how, not just the numbers. She pointed to Clark's humility, her genuine appreciation for the trailblazers who paved the way. In a league where some act like they invented the crossover, Clark's deep respect for the game's history stood out, and Lisa made sure everyone heard it. Her message was clear. Are you even paying attention? While some gripe about screen time, Caitlyn is out here honoring the pioneers who built the stage.
Listen, she's a competitor. She's a trash talker. She makes players around her better. She's exciting to watch, and quite frankly, I've missed seeing her. Being at Unrivaled, she was there. I've missed seeing her play, so I really look forward to seeing her back out there. But as I do all of the WNBA players, we are really watching a very exciting level of basketball.
But let's get to the real moment. The game-changing pivot that turned heads. Lisa Leslie didn't just defend from a distance. She stepped right into the conversation, face-to-face with Angel Reese on her own podcast, a space where Reese controlled the mic and the final cut. Leslie didn't hold back. She went full truth-teller mode, looked Reese straight in the eye, and called out the glaring issue, those missed layups.
The biggest advice I have for you is going to be how you shoot your layups, period. We're going to fix that. Yeah. That's fixable for you. And I think that's probably the biggest. I think your shot from the outside is improving. I love that your ball handling is good. Your defense is improved.
Let's take a moment to appreciate the setup. You bring a legend onto your show, expecting some nostalgia, a few laughs, maybe a feel-good girl power conversation. Instead, your struggles at the rim get put on blast for thousands to hear. It wasn't harsh. It wasn't petty. It was raw honesty. And truthfully, it was the kind of tough love coaching moment Reese might not get anywhere else.
Where she literally needs to put up 300 shots a day. And I'm not kidding. 200 or 300 shots a day, and that's missed layups. She's 6'3" or 6'4", can't hit a layup to save her life. And literal videos have went mega viral of just her missing layups in games.
Lisa didn't tear Reese down. She built her up. That's what makes Leslie such a force. She didn't humiliate Angel. She challenged her, the way a Hall of Famer would take a struggling rookie aside and say, Here's what needs to change if you want to be great.
You got to go out there and prove yourselves. And listen, are we going to get upset about 5, 6, 10 games less on television or not? I don't think we should. We have access to find these games now in a way that we never had before. And we have to appreciate that, and all these platforms that support the W.
Lisa understands something many overlook. When the stars rise, everyone wins. And Caitlyn Clark? She's not just rising, she's skyrocketing. Leslie made it clear that Clark's spotlight isn't a threat to veterans. It's a rising tide. More attention on the league means bigger paychecks, packed arenas, and a future where both rookies and veterans get what they're worth. She didn't shy away from the controversy around Clark's screen time. She tackled it head-on.
Stephen A. Smith had a very interesting discourse with Fee recently over the number of games the Fever broadcasted this season compared to other teams who have also got stars on them. So curious what you make of W's decision to lean into highlighting its stars.
While players like Reese and others grumbled about how often Clark's team gets the national spotlight, Lisa Leslie broke it down like a professor. When one of us eats, we all eat. In other words, instead of complaining about TV time, they should be thanking Clark for bringing more eyes and more opportunity to the league.
I think it's all about money, marketing, and we cannot deny what Caitlyn Clark has done for the women's game. I'm not going to act like it's something that we don't see. She's had a huge effect called the Caitlyn Clark effect. Yes, have we ever had teams have to get into larger arenas to play against a team? No, we have not. So if we have more eyeballs on the game and Caitlyn Clark brings that, why would we feel some kind of way because she has more television games?
Remember when some players, and even ESPN, tried to downplay Caitlyn Clark's dominance at Iowa just because she didn't win a national title?
I'm curious, where would you rank her amongst all-time college players, in your opinion?
Ooh, that's tough because you got to win one. I feel like that college is one of those spaces where you got to win one for them to even have your name in the conversation. And it took me 3 years to win mine, so it's hard.
Well, Lisa Leslie wasn't having any of that either. She shut it down, plain and simple.
Curious if you think winning an NCAA championship is needed for that eventual GOAT conversation, greatest of all time status.
Absolutely not. I didn't win an NCAA championship. I was National Player of the Year. I won all of the individual awards, but sometimes, it's very hard to win a national championship, regardless of how much people talk about it, like, oh, you have to have it. It is one of the hardest things to do in a tournament where you have so many games and you're trying to get there. So yeah, shout out to all of the players who were able to win national championships, but it doesn't make a player who didn't win a national championship any less of an amazing individual player.
Then came the mic drop moment. Lisa Leslie said, Clark deserves this, all of it. The attention, the endorsements, the hype, because she's changing the game. And when those words come from someone who changed the game herself, it's not just praise, it's a passing of the torch.
Hey, listen, Caitlyn, I am so thankful for her. I'm thankful for all of these women and where this game is, and we have to step back and see the big picture and how it's impacting all of us.
So what did we witness? It wasn't just a defense of Caitlyn Clark or a critique of Angel Reese. It was a lesson in leadership from one of the game's all-time greats. Lisa Leslie showed us how it's done. You lift others up, you correct when necessary, and most importantly, you speak the truth, even when it's uncomfortable and even when it's on someone else's mic. Because at the end of the day, Lisa Leslie isn't here to play favorites. She's here to elevate the game. And Caitlyn Clark? She's proving every day that she's not just a media sensation, she's the future Lisa Leslie's been waiting for.
Indiana Fever preseason has officially come, and it has officially gone.
The Indiana Fever did finish the WNBA preseason undefeated.
Caitlyn Clark is launching shots from ranges that seem almost illegal for a basketball court, while Lexie Hull continues to carve out a reputation as the Fever's go-to weapon in crunch time. As one insider put it, I think Caitlyn Clark may have even extended her range. She's making those deep shots look effortless.
The Indiana Fever close out the preseason 3-0, victory against the Mystics, victory against the Brazilian national team, and another victory this afternoon against the Atlanta Dream.
In their final preseason matchup, the Fever wrapped up an undefeated 3-0 run, but not without some tense moments. A concerning injury to a core player and unexpected remarks from their Atlanta Dream rivals added drama to the win. From standout performances to surprising twists, here's the full breakdown of how Indiana closed out their perfect preseason in Atlanta.
When I watch the Fever, even when they're not at their best, one thing I can't help but think is that they're just going to run teams off the floor and destroy them with their firepower. They just have so many players that can beat you and can score. And, DeWanna Bonner didn't even start this game. Sophie Cunningham started in her place.
Did you know Caitlyn Clark was nearly sidelined for the Fever's final preseason game? Less than 24 hours before tip-off against the Atlanta Dream, Fever fans were anxiously refreshing their social media feeds, desperate for updates. The reason? Clark had collided with a practice player during the team's final workout, striking the same leg that had already been strained. The news took everyone by surprise.
They're just doing a drill, and if you're looking what happens here. Caitlyn Clark pulls up. Caitlyn Clark pulls up immediately. And a lot of people are saying that it's not the end of the world.
Picture the scene. The Fever's medical staff hurrying to assess their star rookie as the team's perfect preseason record hung in the balance. 2 wins, 0 losses, and now their top player was on the bench, ice pack on her leg. Fans began to worry if this was a sign of things to come. Was the pressure of the pro game already setting in? As the medical team conducted their evaluation, social media lit up with speculation. Would Clark miss the final preseason game? Could this affect her readiness for the regular season opener? With every minute, the questions only grew.
Coach just mentioned you've been limited in practice this week. Just how are you kind of working back from that leg injury?
Yeah, I think taking my time. I feel really good, honestly, and excited to get out there and play again tomorrow. Work on things that we need to work on, and yeah, Maria's been great. Our medical staff has been really helpful. But I feel really good, honestly.
Then came the announcement that sent a wave of relief through the Fever fan base. Clark was cleared to play. Not only would she suit up, but she'd be in the starting lineup. Just like that, the injury scare faded into the background, becoming a footnote instead of the headline.
There's no reason to overdo anything right now. It's been the beginning of the season. Still don't play here for another week, the last 2 days have been really, really good for myself.
You weren't started? What caused it to get her?
I don't. Probably just a little too much basketball. I think, I love being in the gym, but I think understanding when to be in the gym and, when to recover and things like that. So I think just finding a balance and obviously just getting back into the swing of things. But yeah, it was nothing major or anything like that.
From the opening moments, it was obvious Clark wasn't holding back. She fired off shots from distances that left defenders looking powerless. WNBA analyst Robin Lundberg of Sports Illustrated took to X with a bold observation. I think Caitlyn Clark may have even increased her range. She is shooting the deep ones like they are nothing.
Irons it. So second attempt, same spot, same result for Maya Caldwell. That's Caitlyn Clark, top of the key, and drains her first triple of...
One particular three-pointer, launched from near the logo, instantly brought back memories of Clark's iconic shot just a week earlier at Iowa. Atlanta's defenders could do little more than watch as the ball soared high and splashed cleanly through the net. This wasn't just a rookie easing into the pro game. This was Caitlyn Clark making a statement. By the final buzzer, she had silenced all doubts, finishing with 13 points, 7 assists, and 6 rebounds in just 23 minutes.
Natasha Howard gets the bucket. Step back triple. Kelsey Mitchell to the rim. Well, that's Caitlyn Clark, top of the key, and drains her triple.
As the final buzzer sealed an 81-76 win over Atlanta, the Fever had done something noteworthy. a flawless 3-0 preseason sweep. What began with a scare ended with rising optimism about what this team could accomplish once the real games begin. With the score tight heading into the fourth, an unexpected hero stepped up for Indiana, and it wasn't Caitlyn Clark. The spotlight turned to Lexie Hull, who had been steadily refining her game all preseason while adapting to a new role off the bench. It's worth noting that Hull closed out last season as a starter, proving to be a dependable two-way player, and, during that stretch, the league's hottest three-point shooter.
And now BG says she's rediscovered her love for the game, saying Atlanta reminds me of home. I'm back in the South, and this was the best decision of my life.
She is completely fine, just needing rest, so we will not see her for the rest of this ball game.
Yeah, we can't give out all our weapons.
Turnover as Matt Caldwell got a little too deep in.
However, with the arrival of new all-star free agent additions, Hull has embraced a bench role this season. But in this game, something felt different. There was a new confidence in her stride, a sharpness in her movements that turned heads. This wasn't the same player fans had seen before. This was someone poised to take over.
I think more than anything, just being able to practice with our team. We're getting a lot of good reps in practice, and I think confidence comes from that. Confidence comes from getting the reps, the game-like reps, over and over again in practice. And our team's super competitive. So every single day that we've had of training camp so far has felt pretty much game-like. Like we're all taking it very serious, and it starts in practice.
The Atlanta Dream kept pressing, challenging the Fever on every possession and putting their perfect preseason run in jeopardy. The tension inside the arena was palpable. Would Indiana's spotless record hold up? That's when Hull stepped up and took control. When the Fever needed offense the most, she answered with striking efficiency, slicing through defenders as if the lanes appeared just for her. She pulled up for contested mid-range jumpers like the defense wasn't even there. One standout moment saw her split two Dream defenders and glide in for a smooth finish at the rim.
It's like, nah, shoot that thing when you open. Lexie Hull getting downhill, finds the bucket and one, as this will be the largest lead for Indiana.
Her impact extended far beyond the scoreboard. Hull's defensive energy disrupted Atlanta's rhythm, forcing turnovers and sparking fast break chances. Her court vision consistently set up teammates for easy looks. The Dream had no answer for Hull's relentless effort in the closing minutes. After the game, head coach Stephanie White offered a glimpse into Hull's growth, shedding light on what fans had just witnessed. When you accept your role, as Lexie does, you can't allow it to put you in a box, right? White said, emphasizing how Hull had fully embraced her responsibilities while continuing to elevate her overall game.
Lexie's playing with such a high level of confidence. You saw that the second half of last season, her starting to grow into that. I think you saw it a lot in Unrivaled as well. It unlocked, I think, a little bit of creativity. I think sometimes when you're a young player in this league, when you accept your role, as Lexie does, you can't allow it to put you in a box, right? Like your role can change throughout the course of a season. Your role can change throughout the course of career.
White highlighted Hull's growing creativity and the team's rising confidence in her decision-making. She's done a really good job of putting herself in position for that, the coach noted, clearly proud of Hull's development. Hull, in turn, credited the team's competitive practice environment for her clutch performance. Confidence comes from getting the reps, the game-like reps, over and over again in practice, she explained. She also pointed to her experience winning a championship in the Elite 3-on-3 League, which she said helped sharpen both her defensive instincts and one-on-one skills.
That it's going to be an exciting season. I think more than anything, we're a deep team, and I think everyone's really bought into trusting the process this season. It might not start off super pretty, but we know that putting in the work, putting in, trust into the coaching staff, trust in each other, that by the end of the season we'll be exactly where we want to be. So just excited, with the progress we've made even over just 3 games.
By the final buzzer, Hull had gone from role player to game changer, dropping 11 of her 14 points in the pivotal fourth quarter to help seal the victory. The stat sheet backed it up. Hull scoring under pressure was exactly what the Fever needed to close out the game. Her performance wasn't just impressive, it may very well reshape the entire dynamic of Indiana's rotation heading into the regular season.
Lexie does. You can't allow it to put you in a box, right? Like, you still, your role can change throughout the course of a season. Your role can change throughout the course of career. So you want to be able to stretch and expand. And I think Lexie's done a really good job of putting herself in position for that. You know, running actions for her, you know, allowing her to decision make. Hell, I think in the Washington game we had her playing some point. You know, so it's a tribute to the work that she's put in, the confidence that she's built with her discipline and work ethic in the off season. And you trust her on the floor. You trust her to make the right play and make the right read.
With Hull emerging as a dependable clutch performer off the bench, the Fever suddenly looked much deeper than many had anticipated. In a single game, she may have shifted from being a valuable contributor to becoming an exclamation point in Indiana's push to make a statement this season. But the game wasn't without its tense moments, one of which showed a side of Caitlyn Clark that fans hope they rarely have to see. Midway through the second quarter, Clark drew attention for something other than her signature shooting. She picked up a technical foul, a moment that revealed just how fiercely competitive she truly is.
Make it 12-3 run as they are now just down 1 point.
Picture the moment. Clark fires a bounce pass, only to see it intercepted by the Dream and turned into a fast break layup by Brianna Jones. Clark clearly felt there should have been a foul on the play. Her frustration erupted. She grabbed the ball and fired it against the base of the hoop. The whistle was immediate. Technical foul on Clark, her first of the preseason. What happened next spoke volumes about the team chemistry already taking shape in Indiana. Sophie Cunningham, known for her own intense competitive spirit, stepped in as the calming force. As Clark continued to argue with the refs, Cunningham quickly pulled her aside, defusing the situation before it escalated. In that moment, she took on the role of veteran protector, ensuring the rookie star didn't land in deeper trouble.
Cunningham actually stepped on somebody's foot and turned her ankle and had to leave the game.
Here's where things took a turn. Not long after stepping in to calm Clark, Cunningham found herself in a tough spot of her own. In the third quarter, she leapt for a rebound and came down awkwardly on Rhyne Howard's foot. The moment she landed, it was clear something was wrong. Cunningham dropped to the court, then limped over to the Fever bench, visibly in pain. The injury was later diagnosed as a right ankle issue, and she was listed as doubtful to return.
Hopefully the Fever are fully healthy going into that game. Hopefully Sophie Cunningham is good to go in that game. I know she was seen in a walking boot afterwards, but that's typical. It clearly wasn't a serious injury, but it doesn't mean it's going to be healthy a week from today either.
Fever fans held their breath. Could this injury affect the team's regular season outlook? Post-game, Coach Stephanie White offered some reassurance, sharing that Cunningham had told her, "I'll be fine." White added that Cunningham was already in a cold tub after the game, indicating the team was taking swift action to jumpstart recovery. Still, no official testing had been done on the ankle yet, leaving a bit of uncertainty as the season opener approaches.
I don't think so. She was in there getting it in a cold tub, so she keeps saying I'll be fine, so I trust her.
Despite the tense and concerning moments, the game also showcased powerful acts of sportsmanship, reminding everyone what makes certain teams stand out. Before and after the final buzzer, players from both sides exchanged genuine gestures of respect. Hugs and heartfelt conversations between opponents proved that intense competition doesn't have to come at the expense of real connection. One especially meaningful moment, captured on camera, came between Caitlyn Clark and Brittany Griner. Though the two stars spent little time on the court together, they shared a warm embrace after the game. Fans took notice, with one commenting, "Great respect from Clark and Griner." These subtle exchanges play a big role in shaping the culture of the league. The technical foul on Clark revealed more than just frustration. It showed the depth of her competitive fire and the strength of the Fever's team chemistry. We saw a rookie who refuses to back down, surrounded by veterans who know how to guide that intensity. At the same time, Cunningham's injury left fans wondering whether she'll be available for the season opener against Chicago.
We did a better job of taking care of the ball in the second half. I was disappointed that we had 10 first half turnovers. A lot of them were trying to force things that just weren't there. I didn't feel like we were patient enough to get into our offense. So we did a better job of taking care of the ball. I always love when we have a high assist to made field goal ratio. I think we're going to find a lot of success when that happens for us. Quality depth, they came in and made impact, no doubt. And being able to, hold the team to 34% from the field. All points of emphasis for us. And even though it's not always that pretty, it's progress, and that's what we need.
These moments of drama and sportsmanship captured the essence of what makes the WNBA truly special, an elite level of competition paired with authentic respect. The Fever showed they have the intensity to contend at the highest level without losing the class and camaraderie that strengthen relationships across the league. Fans didn't just witness standout performances, they saw a team beginning to shape its identity, competitive, passionate, and grounded in respect for the game and its opponents. The preseason has come to a close, and the Indiana Fever have officially put the league on alert with their flawless 3-0 record. But this isn't just about winning exhibition games. It's about catching early glimpses of something special taking shape in Indiana, perhaps earlier than anyone expected. The chemistry between Clark, Hull, Boston, Mitchell, and the rest of the roster has at times looked seamless. Now, the real test begins. Can this momentum carry into the grind of the regular season? Teams around the league have been analyzing film, especially on Clark, crafting tailored defensive schemes designed to throw her off rhythm and reduce her impact.
With that being said, you big dummies, you getting paid now.
Right.
Everybody now has an opportunity to pull up their chair and have a seat.
For the past year, we've seen Cheryl Swoopes relentlessly target Caitlyn Clark with outlandish accusations, claiming she's a 25-year-old competing against teens, saying her rookie season lacks merit, insisting that no one wants to team up with her. The barrage of criticism felt never-ending.
Some of your peers, they will recognize, her game, but they won't recognize her impact.
Right.
How can you separate the two? It's kind of hard, right?
And Jax, you're absolutely right. And I was like, come on, you big dummies.
Then Cheryl Miller stepped up. The basketball legend and former Clark coach threw a knockout punch on the All the Smoke podcast, calling Swoopes a big dummy and shredding her false claims. Miller put Swoopes in check, and her defense of Caitlyn Clark hints at something huge for the Indiana Fever, leaving fans buzzing.
3-time Player of the Year, 2-time National Championship, 2-time Tournament MVP, first woman to dunk in an organized game, gold medalist. Thank you for making time. Welcome to the show, Cheryl Miller.
Before we dive into Miller's take, ever wondered why a basketball legend is so focused on tearing down the WNBA's brightest new star? Let's unpack the bizarre crusade Cheryl Swoopes has waged against Caitlyn Clark, from her college days to her rookie season.
Let's also talk about how much more experience that gives you over other players coming in, right? So people say, dang, like he or she's killing them, but you have a 25-year-old playing against a 20-year-old.
It all started with Swoopes' wild claim that Clark was a 25-year-old playing against 20-year-olds at Iowa. In reality, Clark was 22, a typical college senior. When called out, Swoopes backpedaled, blaming COVID eligibility rules, an excuse that didn't stick.
Caitlyn Clark right now probably takes about 40 shots a game.
Carry on.
I know you like that.
Hell yeah.
I said that because when she comes to the league, regardless of what team she goes to that has vets on that team, she probably ain't gonna get 40 shots a game.
Swoopes wasn't done. She claimed Clark took 40 shots a game, labeling her a selfish shooter. The truth? Clark averaged 22.7. Ironically, Swoopes averaged 19.2 in her senior year. When Clark neared the NCAA scoring record, Swoopes shifted, questioning its legitimacy and suggesting Clark needed a 5th year to break it.
You asked me about Caitlyn. If you're going to break a record, to me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time that that player set it.
Okay.
Right? So if Kelsey Plum set that record in 4 years, well, Caitlyn should have broke that record in 4 years. But because there's a COVID year and then there's another year, you know what I mean? So she's already had an extra year to break that record. So is it truly a broken record?
Swoopes' claim was false. Clark shattered the NCAA record in 4 years, not 5. She could have taken a 5th year due to COVID rules, but chose not to. When Clark entered the WNBA, Swoopes predicted she wouldn't dominate. Yet, Clark went on to break rookie assist records, averaging 19.2 points and 8.4 assists, winning Rookie of the Year and silencing the doubters.
Didn't say she wouldn't be good. What I said was I didn't think Caitlyn or Angel would come into the league and dominate immediately, which I don't think either of them did.
Respectfully, there is absolutely no way, even when we're trying to sit here and play semantics about dominating, there's no way that anyone could ever leave this season in saying that both Caitlyn Clark and Angel Reese didn't dominate. You would have to further explain what dominance means for you to not sit here and say that a player who is leading the league in assists while averaging 19 to 20 points didn't dominate that season.
Perhaps the most telling moment came when Swoopes appeared on Angel Reese's podcast, continuing to undermine Clark while claiming she didn't dislike her. A classic case of saying one thing and doing another. The basketball world took notice, and soon Swoopes was removed from broadcasting a Fever game, replaced by Nancy Lieberman. Lieberman didn't hesitate to call out the misinformation being spread about the rookie sensation.
I've known Cheryl since she was in college. I helped do her shoe deal with Nike in 1993, took her to her first SBs. I've known Cheryl, I've coached her, have a lot of respect for her. I called her when Caitlyn was still playing at Iowa and she had just broken Maravich's record. And it was all over the place, as you and I have discussed, that, you know, there was this quote by Cheryl that said, you know, Caitlyn was, 25 years old. She was, 24 years old. She was a 5th-year senior. Right. She was taking 40 shots a game. Her records were illegitimate.
The basketball world waited for someone credible to step in, and Cheryl Miller delivered. On the All the Smoke podcast, she lit up the critics, offering one of the most authentic defenses women's basketball has seen.
I got off the treadmill and I called her as a friend and I said, you can say whatever you want. You can have your own opinion about anybody, but you do have to get the statistics right. I mean, facts matter. And if you just get ahead of this and just say, hey, I made a mistake on my numbers, then this thing is over and everybody respects you for your opinion. And, you might like Boston, I might like the Yankees. It's okay to have difference of opinions. Well, she got upset with me on the phone and I was like, Cheryl, I'm not doing anything to hurt you. I'm just sharing, we're talking. And so our relationship, it pretty much is not happening at this point. I tried to talk to her at the Final Four. Right. She didn't want to talk to me. My life's going to be good or great with or without Cheryl Swoopes in my life.
Miller didn't just support Clark. She came with fire. Her now viral, "Come on, you big dummies," directed at critics like Swoopes, said it all. But she wasn't done. Miller passionately defended Clark's work ethic, calling out the hypocrisy with the authority of a basketball legend. She pointed out what the haters conveniently ignore.
Jax, you're absolutely right. And I was like, come on, you big dummies. Is she getting hyped? Yes. But she was in the backyard. She was putting in the same time, sometimes maybe more than you were.
Right.
I can't fault her for what she was given.
It's the uncomfortable truth critics won't admit. Clark's presence has elevated the entire league, even the paychecks of those criticizing her.
Look, as much as she was given, you can't tell me if that door would have swung the other way where she didn't live up to the hype.
Right.
Come on, folks are still waiting for her to fall.
Exactly.
Come on.
Yep.
So with that being said, You big dummies, you getting paid now.
What makes Miller's defense so powerful is that it's based on direct experience, not speculation. After coaching Clark in the 2024 WNBA All-Star Game, Miller had a front-row seat to evaluate Clark beyond the highlight reels, and what she discovered even surprised her.
You recently coached the WNBA All-Star Game. You spent some time with Caitlyn Clark.
Best coaching job ever.
Best coaching job
Best
ever.
coaching job ever.
Being around Caitlyn Clark, how was the experience for her? She's such a big star. I mean, the sky's the limit for her. To be around her, just talk about the type of person she is and how much she loves the game.
I'm going to be honest because it needs to be said. I can relate to that young lady, and I felt for her.
Mm-hmm.
I know what it's like to be hated. I know what it's like to be a Black woman and hated because of my color.
Yeah.
I was pleased and proud to see the narrative wasn't true, Miller said, dismantling months of media spin in a single sentence. She then went deeper, offering rare insight into what makes Clark truly special.
I can't imagine this young lady, I don't want to use hate, but despised.
Mm-hmm.
And people just having, she brought some on herself a little bit because she's cocky for a good reason.
Mm-hmm. Confident.
And I love that about her. But to watch the dynamics and the media, they had their narrative.
Mm-hmm.
And I was pleased and proud to see the narrative wasn't the truth.
Behind Miller's technical breakdown of Clark's skills is something deeper, a genuine emotional bond forged through Clark's toughest moments. When the Fever secured their first win of the 2024 season, Miller didn't just congratulate Clark. She gave her the unconditional support that few others did when the rookie needed it most.
Watching her pass, and I didn't know how talented she was and how well she sees the game in a 3D version, thinker.
Mm-hmm.
Defensively, a lot better than I thought and gave her credit for. So watching her and just spending a little time. And one thing, guys, that I've learned is to step back and let these kids be themselves.
The embrace between Miller and Clark after Indiana's first win wasn't just casual, it was a pivotal moment. Clark, battered by criticism, felt isolated. Miller recalled, "I gave her the biggest hug. When she saw me, she said, 'Finally, somebody on my side.' She was getting hit from all sides."
She was getting hit with everything left and right, and I just said, I hugged her, I said, "I'm so proud of you." I go, savor this, use this as a formula. I said, but keep being you. I said, no matter what, keep being you.
In that raw, vulnerable moment, Miller didn't offer empty words. She gave Clark the kind of guidance only someone who's walked a similar path could provide. "I'm so proud of you. Savor this. Use this as a formula, but keep being you. No matter what, keep being you." These weren't just comforting words. They were a lifeline to a rookie drowning in expectations and scrutiny.